Welcome to week 1 of the NFL season. Miko here with Fantasy Football Friday. I am here to give you advice with your fantasy team, some start sit. This week we have a new segment called Q&A. So one piece of strategy that I wanted to talk about before anything else was the flex spot. Last night we had an awesome game with the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers. CJ Anderson was unbelievable. But you probably didn't draft him as your 1 or 2 running back. So you may have played him in your flex spot. Now, what could happen is if one of your main starters is injured in your running back spot, CJ Anderson's already in your flex. He's stuck there. You can't move him. So one thing that I always try to do is never start a Thursday night player in my flex spot. Just gives me more flexibility. This week, I don't think Phillip Rivers is going to have a great game. He's playing the Kansas City Chiefs. He's never thrown a touchdown against them. I'm actually sitting him for Brock Osweiler, and your league probably has better options available, but in mine, that's all that was there. Some quarterbacks that I really like this week are Matt Stafford, Andrew Luck. They're playing each other. Both teams don't have the best defenses. I think it could be a shootout, and there could be a lot of fantasy. I also like Dak Prescott and Tyrod Taylor. I don't think I'm going to be starting RG3. I just don't think it's a great matchup. So, if you're anything like me, you may have drafted Jamal Charles. And now, he's not playing week 1. Hopefully that's all it is and he's not going to miss more than that. But if not, hopefully you got Spencer Ware. I think Spencer Ware has an amazing matchup, and he is definitely worth starting over probably anybody else other than your top 10 running backs. I also really like Ryan Matthews this week. He's got a great matchup against Cleveland, and I think he's going to definitely be a good return on investment. If at all possible, I would not be playing Melvin Gordon this week. The Chiefs have a great run defense, and I think the Chargers are going to be playing from behind, and so that means more of a Danny Woodhead role than anything else. I think he could have a good game, but it's not exactly something that I would be looking forward to and starting him over anybody else. Danny Woodhead. I also, if at all possible, would be sitting Arian Foster this week. He is playing Seattle. It's not a good matchup at all, and coming off an injury like he did on a new team, he may get you a few points, but definitely not what you want. As far as wide receivers go, I love Randall Cobb and Dante Moncrief this week. They're both the secondary guys in their offense, but they've got great matchups against bad defenses. And I think they're just going to have a great game, get you a ton of points, especially for someone that wasn't drafted as your number 1 wide receiver. 2 guys that may have been your number 1 wide receiver that I don't think are going to be that great this week are Keenan Allen and Julian Edelman. They both have tough matchups against really good defenses, and I don't know if you can necessarily sit them, but if you've got other options, it might be worth it. That being said, I do love Keenan Allen the rest of this year. The Chiefs are just a really good pass defense. At tight end, I think Coby Fleener is going to be a make-or-break-it guy. He's got a good matchup, but I've been hearing a lot of stuff about him not really knowing the offense yet. That makes him a questionable play for me. But I do love Zach Ertz. I think he's got a good matchup, and with a new quarterback, Carson Wentz there, I think he could definitely get you a good return on investment for where you drafted him. Q&A time. John asked, Carlos Hyde, worth the injury risk? I think that depending on where you got him in your draft, that I think he could be worth it. There's no one else in San Francisco, and he could be a really good running back for you. Marty asks, what guys are most likely to get suspended? Well, that's kind of hard to predict. If I could, I would do that for you. Tim says, Lions? That opens up so many questions. Yeah, I agree. I don't like the Lions. I'm from Detroit. I think they are not that great and overhyped every single year. Matt asks, are the Jags for real? I think so. They've got an awesome offense. I think they've improved a little bit on defense. So, yeah, let's see what they can do. Greg asks, is Bolden a viable flex option? I think so, depending on your league. I mean, I wouldn't be rushing out to get him. There's a lot of better options. But he's definitely solid. Jason asks, how can I win money on FanDuel? Watch my videos. listen to my picks. Basically pick those on FanDuel. Admiral_bananas says, I've got Allen Robinson, Dez Bryant as my wide receivers and Eric Decker in my flex. On my bench, I have Sterling Shepard and Stephon Diggs. My question, I know I don't have the best wide receivers in the league. Who should I be looking to at wide receiver to help make up some ground? Honestly, I think you have awesome wide receivers. It kind of depends if you have PPR or not, but Allen Robinson is their main focus. I think Dez is going to have a lot better year than people think. And Eric Decker, he gets a touchdown every game. So as long as he can keep doing that, I think he'll be all right. The book's Never Better says, is Keenan Allen being underrated? He was on pace to put up similar numbers as OBJ, but missed half the season due to his kidney. I completely agree. I love Keenan Allen this year. Week 1, he's a little rough, but beyond that, he's going to get you a ton of points. If you're PPR, I like him even more. Bill_the_Butcher, who's a deep running back, undrafted in many leagues, worth picking up in free agency or on the wire. I would say look at the backups to all of your stud running backs, such as Lamar Miller, Adrian Peterson, David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, all of their backups. They can step right in and make a big impact for you. That's it. That's this week for Fantasy Football Friday. Hopefully these picks help, and I will see you next week.